Bitcoin is synchronizing global consciousness. What an interesting phenomenon that's happening. I was listening to a podcast recently. Sorry, there's a saw over there doing some construction. I was listening to a podcast recently, and you hear this on so many podcasts about how Bitcoiners are all coming to the same conclusions about reality, spirituality, God, freedom, sovereignty. We're all coming to the same ideas and ideals. And it all starts with that one question: what is money? And I remember asking that about 5 years ago. I've been on quite the journey in my life over the last 5 years with the things I've been learning, the ways my reality has shifted, and I can trace it all the way back to originally asking that question: what is money? And what a lie that they've sold us. We've been told from a young age that money comes from the state, right? Money is dollars. Money is defined by the banks. But what a lie that was. And when you start to question that, it starts to make you wonder, what are the other things in my life that I've been lied to about? What is religion? What is spirituality? Those are the questions I started to ask after I figured out what money was. I started to look at the things in my life. What is God? What is spirituality? And many of us grew up, in church or religion. I grew up Mormon. I still am Mormon. It's my heritage. I still claim it. There's a lot of things I like about the Mormon church, but there were a lot of things that I was told growing up about: this is how you receive God's blessings, this, you must do this or this to find peace and happiness in life, that I no longer believe. And it was because of that deconstruction around the concepts we'd been fed about money that led me to do the same thing with religion. And I'm not unique in this. This is happening all over the world to everyone who goes down this Bitcoin rabbit hole. And it's questions themselves. I mean, the questions are so important. These are the questions that excavate the truth. And that's what questions are, right? When you ask a question, you reach into the unknown. You reach into that void of infinite intelligence, and you're reaching for the truth, right? But anyway, it gives me a lot of hope for the world that the more that people start to ask these questions, and people are starting to wake up. I'm telling you, I'm seeing it more and more. People are beginning to wake up, and a lot of times it starts with that question: what is money? And it leads to more questions, and pretty soon you've arrived at the truth. I had an experience a few months ago where it felt like I was asking some questions that I wasn't supposed to be asking, and I had pieced some things together. Maybe I can make a video on this sometime, but I had pieced some things together and uncovered a dark truth about the world that we live in and who's running it and why they're running it. And it was so disorienting and so different from what I had been told my whole life that it sent me into what they called a manic episode, and I actually landed in the hospital for a week. They put me on a floor with people who were schizophrenic or bipolar, seeing things, voices, hearing voices, and I was there for a week just to get my bearings straight again. And it all goes back to that one question: what is money? Asking that led me to where I am now. And I can't help but feel like I've uncovered the truth that is in me. And the truth's in all of us. Jesus said the kingdom of God is within you. And when you finally ask enough questions to uncover what that is, man, it'll lead you to the promised land. I'm telling you. I've made so many changes in my life over the last 3 months, and I know it's so different from what I would have expected, but I know it's the way to go. So those are my thoughts. These are the ways that I think Bitcoin is synchronizing global consciousness. It's leading us all to similar places through that initial question, what is money? And what is money? I invite you to go look into it. And when you figure that out, ask the next question. What is religion? What is spirituality? And when you ask enough questions, you get to the truth.